Hey YouTube, this is The Art of Prepping. Just wanted to talk about gun control. So gun control can kind of get under my skin a little bit. Had to make this video several times so that I wasn't shouting at the camera and saying curse words. So I'm a little bit more calm now, so I'm just going to go ahead and say a few things. The irony of gun control to me personally and the ignorance level that's shown, it's obvious that people don't understand that there's bad people in the world, and there's always going to be bad people. That you can't legislate criminal activity. There's always been laws against certain things like murder, thievery, robbery, whatever you want to call these things. There's traffic violations people do every day. Laws don't keep these things from happening. Now, some people that are conscientious of the law, they may want to abide by it, so there's kind of a reinforcement there. They don't want to get in trouble. But if you're a criminal by nature and definition, you don't give a shit about laws. What's so interesting that these politicians that push gun control is they're surrounded by people with guns, bodyguards, personal security forces. And what's so interesting also is that when you limit the law-abiding citizen, their right to have the full range of capabilities and options for self-defense, like having certain kind of guns or guns, period, especially like in gun-free zones, in public or public areas, which is unbelievable, you just make yourself a target, and you have a lot less of ability to obviously protect yourself and your family. It's just that easy. So you become a victim a lot easier. So, this is just one thing that always pisses me off is, this idea that we go into like a lot of public places, especially government buildings, we have to be disarmed. The Constitution doesn't work there. No. And these are public spaces that are paid by you and me, our taxes. In most cases, they're forced from us. They're forced types of monies that we don't really typically have much say at all. And so this just pisses me off because recently I went and got my driver's license renewed. It was a little while back, but relatively speaking, you know what I'm saying. And it was just like, seriously? Of course I've had it renewed there a few times. Obviously I've lived here for a while. But you have to disarm. You can't go in there. There's sheriff's officers in the lobby, and they wand you down. Sometimes they pat you down. You got to go through a metal detector and all this shit. And I live in a pretty rural area, and this is how they treat you even here. I can only imagine what they do when they go to a large city. I guess they do an anal probe probably, and they have to probably fingerprint you and, God knows what. But what I can tell you, though, is that I do stand up for myself when I go in there, and I kind of make a little bit of a scene about it. I make sure I remind everybody that I'm less free when I'm in there. And I'm not as safe. And of course, I asked, if I go in there to the deputies, I always do before I go in there. It's like, if I go in there, you're responsible, right, for anything that ever happens to me, for my safety? And they say, yes, we are responsible for you. But I wonder how much of that really is true legally, if they were pressed into it legally. I don't know. But all I can tell you, though, I hate going to get my driver's license because I feel less free because I am less free. And this is why people like myself that are aware of this, they have problems with this. And we say these things like, oh, I don't feel very free anymore, or I'm less free when I do certain things. It's not just a talk or a bunch of words. It's real. You actually are limited. You get that taste of a socialist country when you go into the government buildings, even though you helped fund it and you helped build it and you fund the operations of it currently. You don't get to enjoy the freedoms there. So this is the direction I do believe that our country's going. Unfortunately, we're going in this direction that the more and more we do, it's going to be more and more restricted because more and more people are under the illusion because they're so ignorant that we have to have more and more restrictions on law-abiding citizens to actually change criminal activity, which is totally different. These things are different. And apparently people just never will get it through their skull. They're so brainwashed. They don't understand how things work. There's no common sense anymore. That is why we're losing America. That's why it probably already is lost. That's why I'm motivated to do these videos. Because there is no more hope, really. There's personal hope and there's family hope, but there's no more country hope. It's all gone. So when you come to these conclusions, like myself and other preppers, you're kind of one step ahead because you've already accepted the loss. You've already accepted that we've been defeated and that our Constitution is really a post-constitutional era. And that's why we don't get to enjoy the full Constitution, because we are not in the Constitution now. That's all I can say about that.